Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Box, and I am a big fan, big fan of Silent Hill. I love the games and this series to death. I like each one of the games, some more than others, but I think they're all quite good in their own unique ways. And I thought, let's make a tier list of each of the protagonists. Why not? Why not? It seems like a fun thing to do, a fun little distraction for the evening. So from a left to right, we have Travis Grady from Silent Hill Origins, Alex Shepard from Homecoming, James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2, Heather Mason from Silent Hill 3, Harry Mason from Silent Hill 1, Murphy Pendleton, which is the bottom one, from Silent Hill Downpour, and then Henry Townsend above him from Silent Hill 4. Now, starting with the best, I want to put our good boy, Mr. Harry motherfucking Mason. I believe Harry Mason is the best of the best when it comes to these protagonists. Uh, reason being, he is a fantastic father, model citizen, and all around good boy. He goes through hell, literally hell, to save his daughter and kills God. How many dads can say they managed to do that? And on top of that, he's really just a good dad. He's raising a daughter twice. A daughter that isn't even really his, just a child that he picked up off the side of the road the first time. And the second time, another child that was just given to him by another demon child for reasons that are too confusing to explain in this video. He's just a good dad. And even if you play Silent Hill 3 and read his journal, he's not perfect. He's expressly stated that he's had some kind of identity issues with this child. Like, who is this girl? I don't even fucking know who she is. Already raised a girl once to 7 years old. Did she reset? Is she back to being an infant? Should I fucking kill her? Like, before she becomes a demon? No. Because that's not what good dads do. Harry Mason is a model father and an all round good boy. Alright. Up next, we have a man who is not a father. I wouldn't even necessarily classify him as a good person, but he is a very well written human being with thoughts and feelings, and his name is James. James Sunderland of Silent Hill 2. He is a very depressed man. He's got a wife who has some kind of terminal illness, probably a weird combination of cancer, AIDS, and meningitis, and there is absolutely nothing that doctors can do to save her. She's going to die. She has to accept that. He has to accept that. But it's a very difficult thing to accept. And James is the epitome of depression. Well, depending on how you play the game, either he puts Mary out of her misery, or he fucking hates her because he wants his life back. And you uncover all of this information as you go throughout the game. He doesn't kill her during or at the end or anything like that. No, he kills her at the very start of the game, and we don't even know until the end. Hell, he doesn't even know until the end. He has to figure that shit out for himself. And when he does, again, depending on how you play the game, results in what happens to him. Nobody knows. Now, we'll get the depression out of the way for a little bit, just for a little bit, because this is not a happy series. If you came here to be happy or spread any jovial feelings, it's probably the wrong series. The series is very depressing. But we'll take a break from that, and we'll focus on our only female protagonist, Heather. I'm gonna throw her in the B slot. I'll throw her in the B slot. I don't think she's necessarily as well written as James, but she's got a lot of spunk. That's a pretty big factor, honestly, because no one else in this series is spunky. Not anyone else has like this more or less sarcastic and or upbeat personality. Now, being the daughter of Harry Mason, the second incarnation of his original daughter, it's weird, and if you're confused, I don't blame you. She's of course tied to the town of Silent Hill and the cult known as the Order that wishes to resurrect God. So to lure her into the town in order to birth God, the Order kills Harry. It's a shame that America's top dad doesn't live to see his daughter become a pure, unadulterated badass. I'm sure wherever he ended up, he is a proud cookie. But at the B tier, I put her in the B tier because her story is pretty much piggybacking off of the first one. While Harry goes to Silent Hill to save his daughter and kill a bunch of demons, and eventually God, Heather goes to Silent Hill to avenge her dad and eventually kill God. I wouldn't say her trip is as dangerous, personally. While Harry went and he killed off like the very first incarnation of the cult in the town, Heather is dealing with a less, I don't want to say less powerful, but just a remnants group, more or less. A remnants group that is just honestly maybe trying a little too hard, in my opinion. They're just give it up. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It's not gonna work the third time, man. Just stop. Okay. Now, next, we have this young pretty boy right here. This is Murphy Pendleton. I'm gonna put him also in the B tier. Uh, And some of you may be wondering why. Why put him in the B tier? Downpour is not a very good game. Sure, maybe not. I like it. I think it's a fine game. But I'm not rating the games. I'm rating Murphy. Now, Murphy has a story that I think is a bit more on the unique side when it comes to Silent Hill protagonists. Because Murphy is a prisoner of necessity. And I mean that in a literal sense. He's a prisoner. He went to jail, prison. A particular individual raped and murdered his child and dumped the body in a lake. And of course, that individual got caught and is in prison. Murphy figured out who this man was, because it's probably in the news and he's following it very closely. He, being just a general, he's a good dad. I would say he's a good dad, and is generally more or less a model citizen. He's got nothing on his record. He goes fucking nuts one day. Steals a cop car, just goes like 120 down the freeway, and as a result, ends up in prison. Exactly where he wants to be, because he is there to kill the guy that killed his son. Now, what exactly does all of this have to do with Silent Hill, you may ask? Well, revenge, having your son die and desiring revenge is very mentally taxing, I would assume. I don't know, I don't have a kid, but I would assume it's very mentally taxing, and you're likely to develop a lot of internal demons, which is a pretty big theme of Downpour, are boogeymen, as they call them. People that you want to unload all of your frustrations on, people you want to blame for everything, because they are the antithesis of you and your life. They are the cause of all of your problems. After being in prison and physically killing his own boogeyman, he's being transferred to a new prison. The prison bus along the way crashes somewhere outside of Silent Hill, and eventually he makes his way inside. Now he has to deal mentally with his boogeyman. Because revenge isn't as simple as you kill the boogeyman and suddenly you feel better. You gotta deal with it mentally and emotionally as well. All the while we play as Murphy, there's another individual named Anne Marie Cunningham who believes that Murphy killed her father. Not the rapist. The rapist can go burn and die in hell. But her father was a parole officer assigned to Murphy to make sure that he's just a good boy, that Murphy stays as a good boy, and he's trying his best to get him out. One day, in prison, a riot breaks out, and it results in the death of this good officer man. Now, of course, depending on your actions of the game as you play, the story in the flashback unfolds whether Murphy actually killed him or not. But that's not the point. The point is Cunningham, she believes that Murphy killed her father. So to her, Murphy is her boogeyman, and she is the protagonist of her own little story that you are the antagonist of. So it's just the other side of the coin. While we believe that Murphy is the good boy in his story, Cunningham believes he is the boogeyman. Alright. S through B is probably more in line with my more beloved Silent Hill games. These are the ones that I personally enjoy more than anything else. Now we get to the C tier. Now the C tier is occupied by a man who drives a truck, and his name is Travis. I would put him lower because his story also kind of piggybacks off of Silent Hill 1, except it happens first. Unlike Harry, he is not a dad, so he does not get the automatic good cookie award of being a good bean, but he does save a child from a burning building, and that child happens to be Alessa Gillespie, who in a very confusing turn of events is also Cheryl and Heather, because this series makes no fucking sense. Regardless, he saves her from a burning building. He's a good boy for that. He's also a trucker. He drives trucks. I would say he's also a good boy for that, because that is a very tough job to do. Those are really the only good things I have to say about him. Beyond that, he's fairly unremarkable. The only real ties he has to Silent Hill is his mother was admitted into an insane asylum there, but really that's about it. Those are really the only ties he has to the town. Beyond that, he just drives trucks. He drives trucks and is a good boy and is just kind of unremarkable. And what he does in town, trying to just make sure that Alessa is alive and okay, and just making sure she's doing okay, and not being sacrificed for the sake of birthing of God, by killing another demon. Not even God, just a demon. His life is fairly unremarkable. Speaking of unremarkable individuals, this next individual that will be set in the D tier is fairly unremarkable in a degree that, honestly, I forget he even exists. Henry Townsend. This man doesn't exist, personally. He has no memorable lines outside of what the hell? That's about it. He is a side character in a story that's not even his to begin with. The only reason he's involved in any way whatsoever is because he lives in the wrong apartment, motherfucker. That's about it. Walter Sullivan has like this weird mommy fetish with an apartment room for reasons that are even weird by Silent Hill standards. It doesn't make any sense, and he's just living in the wrong room. That's about it. That's the only reason why anything happens to him to begin with. And last, rather unceremoniously, in the F tier, actually, probably not even in the F tier, I'll just move him aside, because he might as well not even exist. I hate him that much. Mr. Alex Shepard. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks so hard that I would prefer a character who is entirely forgettable over him. He's not even a real soldier. He's not a soldier whatsoever. Where are your service stripes, mister? Where is your good cookie medal? Unless, of course, you're not a soldier, but instead, you're fucking insane. The reason being, he was admitted to some kind of mental institute. Honestly, I forget. Silent Hill has 3 hospitals. One of them is actually the General Hospital that also has a mental institution inside of it. I forget which one he's admitted into, but it's one of them. Because he killed his brother and went fucking insane because of it. Now, he didn't just outright kill his brother. No. Alex was being groomed as a sacrifice for the town of Shepherd's Glen, which, while makes no sense, is on the other side of Toluca Lake from Silent Hill. It's not very far away at all. It's right outside the town. Alex was being groomed as a sacrifice to please the entities that be, and everything was set and ready to be put into place, to be put in motion until like a couple days before, probably. He takes his brother out on the lake. They're going for a jaunty little row in the lake after explicitly being told, both of them, by the way, explicitly being told not to go to the lake, to stay far the fuck away from the lake. Because that's where Alex is supposed to be sacrificed. He's supposed to be killed in the lake. But he's not supposed to do it before time, and Josh just isn't supposed to be there whatsoever. But Alex takes his little brother out on the lake one midnight, late at night, and just, is being a bit of a dick to him. Just being a bit of a dick to him, shoving him around a little bit. I guess he's being playful. He's kind of holding on to teasing him about a necklace that Daddy Dearest gave him, and results in Josh just being tossed into the lake. Kid can't swim. He drowns, and it's entirely Alex's fault. And then the rest of the events of the game happen because of him. I hate Alex. He is the entire reason that Homecoming exists in the first place. Reality, it just comes down to bad writing, but I'm still gonna call Alex a dick. Because I hate him. Alright, that was my Silent Hill protagonist tier list. I honestly don't know if people actually still do these. I just thought this would be a fun little distraction. If you want any other tier lists on in the future, let me know. I can do some for other games, or I could just rate games in general, or just things in general. I might make some more. This is a little fun. But until then, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.